Hey, Mouse. So welcome back to Favorite Friday. For the first case of this video, we are going back to California. This case did happen kind of like in the early 2000s, specifically in 2001. So it is not very well covered, but if somehow you are aware of this case, definitely let me know, as always. I literally found out about this case from our first source, the show Deadly Women, so shout out to them. If you knew anybody involved in the case, whether it be our killer or victim, as always, let me know down below, or if you were there the night that our first death at least happened, let me know down below. And so that being said, I'm Claire Rambling, and let's get started. So we're gonna start with Katrina. Katrina Eve. Don't know how to pronounce her last name, so I'm just gonna put it on the screen. She was born January 4th, 1984. Her mother would apparently get divorced, but get remarried to a man by the name of Matthew. And then with Matthew, they would have a daughter by the name of Sabrina. So then in middle school, apparently, Katrina was in a very privileged family. She had things that most other families normally don't have, but she's over doing drugs and alcohol in middle school. So in January of 1999, when she's just 14, apparently she's recommended to go to the school in this therapy school in Utah. And basically she was recommended to stay there at least 9 months, so get out around October, but she winds up staying only until June. And apparently also this ended up not working. And so she drops out at 16. And obviously now that she's now she's not doing school, she pretty much would just stay home all day. And apparently she was diagnosed with to take some antidepressants. And so she pretty much would just sleep all day and then go out and party all night. And so one day, apparently she wants to go to a party, despite all this acting up that she's doing. So she apparently asked her mom for a ride. Her mom refused. I don't know if her mom had somewhere else to go or just felt like you shouldn't be doing all this partying at a young age. Either one I feel should be kind of understandable because, we should all hear no at some point. And apparently her mom slapped her. Apparently Katrina slapped her mom. Now, exactly what was done about that incident, it was not said, but it definitely was mentioned. And I just thought that was interesting. So on the fateful night of November 17th, 2001, Sabrina, who was Katrina's, younger sister, her younger half-sister, she apparently goes to a party with some friends. Obviously, apparently there's no adults. So parents are out of town. I guess the kid of that house decided to throw a party, typical teenager stuff. And she's there with friends, and apparently she's breaking, flower pots. And so I imagine those are obviously, very expensive, was from the ones that I've seen. And so there's this girl by the name of Deanna Moran who comes over and basically tells them to stop. And so basically Deanna, she was born on April 17th, 1986. Of course, this was not Deanna's house. She was just a guest at the party. But of course, again, jewelry breaking stuff that doesn't belong to you. And even though obviously most of these kids are probably, from what I gathered, come from a privileged background, it probably wouldn't put a dent in their wall to pay for this stuff. That still doesn't make it right because this isn't your house. That's messed up. And so basically, Deanna, like I said, she was born in 1986. Apparently, she did volleyball, water polo, and track, and apparently was very popular around school. So then Sabrina apparently calls her older sister Katrina. Katrina apparently gets in the car. She drives there. I guess she asks her sister which one's Deanna, which was the one that confronted you. Sabrina tells her which one it was. So then Katrina confronts Deanna for confronting my sister, the audacity for confronting my sister. She apparently stabbed Deanna only once, but that one time was all that it took. Of course, Katrina flees the scene, and then her friends realize that she's been stabbed. They drive her to the hospital, but unfortunately, she would apparently die that night from that stab wound. So apparently, word gets around quick that Deanna died, especially with it being at a party and there being so many witnesses. Word's obviously going to get around quick, despite this only being 2001. And so Katrina apparently takes 43 pills, 43 exactly. Apparently, I guess they counted later on. The police apparently questioned her, of course, not knowing this, and Katrina would die from an overdose, legally declared a suicide, pretty much that day. So now Katrina's dead. Sabrina, since technically you're the one that called and you're kind of the reason why Deanna's even dead in the first place, because you want to be able to break flower pots and stuff, apparently she had to do 100 hours of community service and $100 in reparations, which I assume obviously went to the family of Deanna. And then the mother, because they're the ones with the money technically, she had to pay $300K to Deanna's parents. And Deanna's parents, on top of that, apparently they actually tried to sue the parents of the kid whose house that the murder essentially happened at. So basically saying, had your kid not had this house party, our daughter would still be alive. Understandably, the judge wound up throwing that out. Sabrina's parents actually tried to file wrongful death on Katrina, basically saying, hey, our loved one may have overdosed, but you could have got them medical help and they'd still be alive had you been smart enough to realize she was not acting normal. As far as I know, I don't think they got anything on that. And then Sabrina, of course, I imagine, apparently got death threats. And then there will be a foundation created in Deanna's memory, and that's pretty much all that I have for that case. And so then, like I said, if you guys knew Katrina, Sabrina, or Deanna, definitely let me know down below. If you know these cases like this, where I guess a murder happened at a party and there was a bunch of witnesses, definitely let me know. And so with that being said, I found a fan from us 2,000 a week. Subscribe for more fail females, and see you guys next one. Bye.